investigation. Chair now recognizes Representative Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Lake, for joining us today. I think it is imperative that we recognize the challenge that VOA faces in terms of the infiltration that we've been talking about during this hearing, of the anti-American information that has been put out, whether it's pro-Russia, pro-China. All of this is problematic. And I think it's also a problem that members on this committee aren't willing to recognize that problem. If we can't all come together and recognize the fact that this organization and this agency is conflicted in many ways, I don't know how we're going to address the problem. So I appreciate the fact that you've recognized that, and your reform efforts are critical. If we want to actually advance America's interests around the world, get out this truthful information, we need to make sure that we are then going to be in a position to spend the dollars that we're appropriating for this program effectively. So the question that I have relates to two, I think, misuses of public funds. The first is about a lease. So we have a video that has been provided that shows a facility that was leased for 15 years, $250 million of taxpayer money to lease this lavish building in downtown Washington, D.C. on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Nice.
Yet at the same time, they are still occupying the Cohen building. So tell me about this new lease and what we know about it at this point.
Well, their plan was to take this operation and move it into this building, a $250 million boondoggle that Amanda Bennett, the former CEO under Joe Biden's administration, the former CEO of USAGM, signed in this lease right before, in the fall, right before the election, to make the American taxpayers pay for this gorgeous facility. Have you ever seen a federal facility this beautiful, by the way? And there you go, you've got waterfalls, you've got Italian marble, glass, and they were gonna move everybody over into this building. One slight problem, it's not set up or equipped to do any broadcasting. And this is a broadcasting agency. So we canceled that. We canceled that and tore up the lease and said we're not going to pay for that lease.
Thank you for doing that, because that is just a shocking misuse of federal funds. And if we do want to actually carry out the good work that VOA possibly could do, we need to make sure that American tax dollars are being spent appropriately and not on wasteful leases like this one. So appreciate your effort to cancel that lease. The second thing that I would like to talk about is relating to some really egregious settlements that were carried out previously for former employees of the agency. And you referenced it in your opening testimony. So I would like to hear a little bit more about this. Again, it sounds like a misuse of federal funds, and if you could share some more information on that.
I think a lot of DC lawyers figured out a quick way to make money is to sue this agency. This agency will roll over and pay off any settlement. As a matter of fact, one of our former attorneys at the agency, upon seeing how many settlements were made there, said that she's never seen so many large settlements go out in any agency. I have in this binder 19 settlements. We only picked the big ones, over $250,000 settlements. 19 $250,000 settlements were made out of the USAGM in the last 5 years. A couple of them were for folks, a man named David Kligerman, who used to work for the agency. Now he works, I believe, over at Middle East Broadcasting. He left the agency after the McGuire-Woods report came out showing misspending, abuse of the agency, abuse of the federal tax dollar. And then he came back when Biden and put Amanda Bennett in, hired him back, and paid him a $650,000 settlement. His attorneys made a fortune as well. I think they figured out that they've got a compliant legal office at USAGM that will settle anything. All you got to do is sue the agency, and they'll throw tons of money your way. And that's another way they've pilfered tax dollars of the American people.
Well, I appreciate your work to highlight the waste and misuse from the last administration. When our country is trillions of dollars in debt, running multi-trillion-dollar deficits every single year, we have to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. It's finally time to do that. I'm glad this administration is taking on that effort. attacking waste and abuse of federal funds like I just talked about here. And if we actually want to get back to the mission of promoting American interests around the world, we need to do that with the tax dollars that we have available. And so these reform efforts that we're talking about today are so critically important. And I, again, want to thank you for our efforts and work with you hand in hand as we actually get back to the critical missions that this agency could provide for America and American interests around the world. Thank you, and I
Thank you.
yield back.
Chair now recognizes Representative Titus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before